here. Welcome back. So, I was watching this movie last week, and it kind of mixed two children's stories together. It was the story of Alice in the Wonderland and Peter Pan. Granted, this is not a movie review, but I really like that movie. I can't think of the name of it, but I probably won't add it in here either. But it was cute. It was cute how they meshed it together, and then they brought two different races together, and put a twist on that story, but still, I don't know, it was, I don't know, shout outs to whoever was the creative that thought about putting those together and the actors they chose for it, because that was, I don't know, that was the icing on the cake. It really was. But in the movie, there was this scene where the little girl kind of went to her aunt's house, and her aunt had said something about her dad. And the little girl, unknowingly, repeated what her aunt said to the girl's mom. And the mom got upset and slapped her. And when the mom was explaining to the aunt what took place, the aunt ended up saying the same thing that the little girl said. So the mom realized that, those weren't just words that came from the daughter. The daughter didn't know what she was saying. She was just repeating what was told to her through the aunt. And it made me think of how many times I've done the same thing. So as a child, you pretty much you're soaking up your environment. You don't know anything just yet, so you're learning from the people around you. And granted, you would hope that people are instilling. I think it's just instill. You would hope that they're instilling a well-rounded perspective or a more positive outlook on things in either your children or whoever they're around. But in that instance, it was a negative aspect spoken on about her father, and it's just the little girl was too young to grasp that this is your father. You should honor your father in this type of way. And she didn't realize that what her aunt was saying wasn't a true reflection of her father's reality. So it made me think of how many times I prejudged or misjudged people or spoke on people based off another's perspective. And it made me think of the Bible verse about it's about judgment. Basically saying the way you judge people is the way that is going to be measured to you. And there's two ways it was kind of reflected or spoken about in the Bible. So the first way it's Matthew 7, verse 1 through 6. It says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to the pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. So that was the first way I read it. Then I'm like, there's another way it's said in the Bible, and that was in Luke 6:37 through 42. This one says it as, do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you will be forgiven. Give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over will pour into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. He also said to them this parable. Can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into a pit? The student is not above the teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like their teacher. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when you yourself fail to see the plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So when I read both of those, like, I get two different I want to say feeling, but understanding probably is a better term to use. Like, when I read the first one, it's like, I don't know, I get into like a more a lustful judgment type of situation. Like, I've always been like an observer, so I'll see situations, and when I was younger, I would speak on things from a childish perspective. So I would judge situations prematurely, not knowing like there's depth behind things, and there's always an alternate. There can be room for grace in certain situations, but because of the environment I was brought up in, not to throw no shade on my family, but I come from a lot of judgmental people. So I found myself doing these same things quite often when it came to others. And this wasn't based off of the heart posture God gave me, because I really am a very understanding person. And it wasn't until I was older and I was away from that environment that I was able to be, one, placed in situations to make me a little more understanding, and then two, being able to develop and formulate my own opinions and thought processes on things without an outsider kind of like influencing my thoughts or thought processes. And so when I read this, it was like, for me, even the way it's worded, like the second way that it's worded has more words to it because of that depth. But this one is more like kind of straightforward, like, don't judge or you'll be judged. And the way you're judging, it could come back to you the same way. And it's like, I felt like there was a season where God was taking me through like every type of scenario possible that I might have judged somebody on, and kind of like threw it back at me and was just like, how does it feel when somebody does this to you? And it was just like, I had to self-reflect and be like, dang, am I really judging people to that extent? Like, why do I feel the need that people need to give me this much grace in certain areas? And I felt so openly comfortable with judging others in this way when I wouldn't want anybody to do me like that. Or like if things were taking place, it would be like, okay, dang, like some people use the word karma. It's like, was I being that judgmental that it's coming at me this hard, this way, because that's how much I was judging other people? And like I said, I had to self-reflect and be like, you know what? You were being this judgmental to people in a certain aspect. And because of that, this was a lesson that needed to take place so that you can genuinely give grace or speak on things in a more grace-filled manner or merciful manner compared to just telling people an opinion and expecting them to accept the I'm a quote unquote wisdom that you're spewing out, compared to somebody that's kind of been through some things and they're speaking from a place of love and understanding, than passing judgment. And that's why that whole make sure you like see the plank in your own eye before you trying to take the plank out of somebody else's eye comes into play in this Bible verse. And it's used the same way in the second one, but it's like used a little differently. And for this one, it was a little I don't want to say conviction, but it was just like, yeah, assess yourself before you start speaking on other people. Because even though it may seem like an innocent rebuke, seems like a harsh word to use too, but like even though it may seem small and you just feel like maybe your way is a little better compared to the next person's way, it's like you don't know what God is doing in their life to either bring them to an understanding or to refine them to get through some things that he is about to take them to. Like everybody's story is different. Everybody's journey and the way that they get to and through things is different. And it's like, make sure that you're looking at what's going on in your life before you feel like you're okay enough to remove the plank from somebody else's eye. And just to give an example, I don't want to give an example just yet. I might tie an example in later, but I don't want to give an example yet. So when I read the second way of this Bible verse, so like I was trying to say before, like it's saying the same thing, but it's like a little more in depth. So when I was reading it and it got into like the don't condemn and you won't be condemned, and forgive and you'll be forgiven, like you have to have taken something personal for those type of wordings. Like before, it's like that surface level childish, I don't really know what I'm saying, so I'm judging you based off of what somebody else may have said type of thing. But with this one, it's more so like it's the word depth is coming to mind, but it's like that's not even the term I want to use. It's more like you got to have some type of relation to feel this type of wording. Like, don't condemn or you'll be condemned. So I just Googled the word I put condemn, but condemnation is what it ended up pulling up. And it says just like the quick little pull up, says the expression of very strong disapproval censor. And when I scroll down a little bit, is vocabulary.com. It says the act of declaring something awful or evil. And to express or feel something that deeply, like, you have to have your own opinion about something prior to get into a judgment like that. Like, that's not something surface level. Like, you have to have a preconceived idea of what you considered is acceptable or not acceptable to be able to form an opinion on something in that case. And to forgive and be forgiven is like, that has to be like personal. Like, there's you wouldn't feel that strongly about something that's surface level. Like, some things just don't hurt you that bad when it's surface level. And to get to a point where it's worded together in this way, it's just like, when I read this, I feel like it's more in depth, more personal, more like there's a thought process behind it, or I don't feel like I'm using the words that I want to express this, but there's more to it than surface, is what I'm trying to say. And then it goes down into giving, and most people use this like in a positive, like, if you give, you'll get more type of situation. But when I read it, it's just like, I see that in it as well. But then it goes on to say, like, for with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So, like, when I hear that, it's like you have to be in a heart posture of considering your motives behind why you're doing things. When, is motives the word I was looking for before? Motive driven? Probably. But it's just like, yeah, that sound good, but what's the motive behind it with what you're saying, doing, or judging, or how you're correcting people? And then it brings it into like explaining about training and aspects like that with that verse. And it's like, why put all of that together in that area, knowing like that's one area that people like kind of, I don't want to say manipulate, but try to use in this is positive and this is how this is used in a positive way, but nobody really talks about like the alternative in this whole little passage right here. So, for example, I was in a situation where I'm like, okay, I feel like God is trying to show people what he means by, I don't want to say, it really is a tithing thing, but there's a perverted standard placed out there on how people are expecting people to tithe. And I used to give. I'm a giver. Like, that's just the type of person I am. And I felt like before, in my mind, it was just like, if I can give and somebody is in a situation where they're in need and I have the resources to be able to give, I was just giving. And God had to show me certain situations where it's just like, this person is taking advantage of you. Like, stop being so giving. Like, yes, I want you to have this heart, but you also need to be discerning, because there are people out here that will take advantage. So when I was in this situation and it was like blatantly that this person was taking advantage, it was just like, well, Lord, how do I maneuver through that? Because, like, you know my heart behind it, and you know that I've always been the type of person, even if that person on their end is being not genuine on their side, I never took that as a disadvantage for me, because my heart posture has never been I was doing this for a me aspect. Like, I was genuinely doing it because, like, I thought you were in need and I have the ability to help something with something that you're in need of. So I'm going to get blessed regardless, because God looks at my heart posture, and I know that if he placed it on my heart to do it, it was a reason for him placing it on my heart to do it. The opposite person's perspective in the matter isn't a concern for me, because it's not my reasoning on what they're doing it for. So on the other person's perspective, it's like, let me take advantage of this willing person to give to me because they think that I am in a disadvantage right now. So I'm going to use that as an opportunity to get what I want and still have what I need, or being selfish, basically. And feeling like they've won on that type of mindset because they received whatever it is that they're wanting. But if you think about it, for you to be in a position where you feel like you have to manipulate others to get what you want, you're already, like, losing in life. Like, that's a loser mentality. Like, you're a loser. I don't care. Like, I probably wouldn't say that out loud, but, like, that's a thought process. Like people that think like that, just, I don't know, because, like, that's not how I think. So it's just like, So, like, it was like a whole, I don't want to say battle, because it really don't be a battle. It just be like, okay, Lord, like, here we are in that scenario again. I know that, you know my heart posture behind giving. And when I give, it's really because, like, I feel like this is something you're wanting me to do, despite what the lesson may be for myself or the other person. But it's like I said, there's these weird test trials on people that's being done. So it's just like, here we are in another one of those situations. And I know that we're only in this because this is what somebody expects me to do. And it's like, Lord, is this something that I should do because, like, this is what you're trying to teach your people in this moment? Or can I go about my business? Because, I got stuff that I need to do for myself as well, and still not feel convicted because I don't feel like I'm tithing as much as I normally do, or how I normally would, or because I'm pouring into myself instead of pouring into others like I would want to in a different season. And it's still that passing judgment type of situation that, like, kind of took place. Like, when I was in the situation, like, my car literally broke down, and I'm in the moment thinking, like, this is nothing but witchcraft. But in my thought process, like, I didn't want to complain because, like, I can do that. Like I can be a complainer, and in the situation I was just like, I want to challenge myself not to complain in these situations and just do what I need to do to get things done. But then on top of that, it was just like a whole bunch of extra people that I have never seen before. Like, this is a place that I frequent. I'm always around these areas, and for this to take place at this time and all of these random people showing up that are normally not in this area, it just screamed witchcraft to me. So it was just like, Lord, this isn't you. So what do you want me to do in this situation? Because this isn't adding up. Like, it doesn't make sense to who you are, what we do, and how you teach me lessons through things and what you expect of me in these type of situations. So when the person that was around like came around asking, it brought me back to that mindset of, this ain't God. Like, this right now for me to give, would it make sense? Like, it wouldn't make sense. Even if this was a test from God, it doesn't feel like God. So it's a test for me to use that discernment that he gave me. So in this situation, it's like, go with what is God telling you in this situation? Like, in this situation, it may look negative, but no. It don't feel good. It don't feel right, but no. Like, don't let these people take advantage of you because they feel like they're testing God in this perverted way. No. Like, God literally says no sometimes. And it's like, don't feed into that stereotype where people think Christians are just dumb and being led blindly like that, like in a naive, let's take advantage, they don't really know they God like that type of situation, when it's like, that's never been God. Like, his children get rebellious and don't listen, but God has never changed. He want us to come to him childlike, but not dumb like come on now. And in the time, I felt like I was judging the person, but then again, it was just like, you know why you saying no in this moment. So it's not I'm judging him or condemning him for his situation, and I'm just saying no because I feel like I'm in a better position. Like, that's not the case right here. So don't condemn yourself in that situation, because it's like, that's where that stereotype is coming in and fitting. Like, don't feed into the stereotype. Like, use this as an opportunity to actually listen to what God is trying to teach you in this moment. So instead of complaining like I would have wanted to, or instead of like expressing my distaste or discomfort in the situation, I just left it to what it was for the time being. Like, I knew what it was, because there's always signs that show this is that in those moments all the time. And I'm grateful that God is working on me to discern these type of things, but it also put me in that perspective of, okay, we're in one of these lessons. This is something you said you wanted to work on in this lesson. So let's utilize what you said you want to work on. And I didn't complain. I don't feel like this is complaining. I just feel like this is expressing what took place. But it was more so of like, if that's something you want to work on, let's work on that. Now, the example for the other situation, and why I said it was more of a like lustful kind of connotation to it. Like, when I was reading it, it made me think of like how I am with like, I want to say judging myself, but like how I assess the situations that take place with men. So I found myself in situations where I'm just like, I don't I don't like how this man showed up in this situation. And I don't want to say I was judging that person, or nor that I was judging myself in the situation. It was just more so like I was thinking of it from a, if someone's pursuing me, how would I want them to pursue me compared to how people are showing up in situations? So like I said before, I'm an observer. So I people watch. Like, it sounds weird because I don't want people watching me, but I be watching people. And I just look at how they do things because, like, I try to learn from it. Like, in all honesty, I try to learn from things that I see. So when I was thinking of this aspect, I was listening to how certain men, like, talk to their wives. And I was like, dang, what if this person passed away because of how they treated their wives? And that was like like, Lord, dang, did I take that thought too far? Like, that's how I felt about it. Like, I wasn't trying to judge what I saw, but it was just like, that's where the thought process went. Like, I seen how these people talk to their significant other, and then I've seen the outcome on their life. And I'm just like, Lord, would you really take somebody from their significant other because of how they speak to them? And it's just like, at the end of the day, these are still God's children. So it's just like, God does some extreme things. And in the thought process, I was just like, well, I wouldn't want anybody that talks to me like that. And then I also came to the thought process of how some of these people treated other people better than they treated their spouse. And I'm just like, Lord, only you know what goes on behind closed doors. So it's like, just because this is a representation that's taking place outside the home doesn't mean these are things that's taking place in the home. But even if these are things that are taking place in the home, this is how it's showing up outside the home. And this is a perspective that is being able to be halved. This is an observation that I am able to have based off of what I am seeing. And for me, it was just like, is it that deep, Lord? Like, is it that deep? So I was thinking about people that are like in positions where they have to, I'm saying the word share their significant other, but I don't mean it in like a sexual or perverted way. It's more so like, because of who these people are, they're responsible to other people. That sounds not like the way I'm trying to say it either. But for example, a pastor has a wife, but they still have to be open to their congregation. So it's like, not saying that the relationship is the same between a pastor and their spouse, but it's saying that because they're a pastor, they still have to have genuine and authentic connections to the people that they're pastoring. Or, for example, an entertainer. Like, these people may still have a significant other that their relationship is not the same between them and their significant other, but they still have to, I want to say portray an image, but that sounds really surface level. But they still have to entertain or pertain or maintain this image to the people that their creative niche is geared to. So it's like sharing your person with other people for the purpose of whatever career they have. And when I was thinking of these things, it was just like you see the person up front that they portray themselves as for all these other people, but then you see their significant other and you're just like, I see how you do this for everybody else, but I can see on your person that you're not doing the same for them. And like I said before, like God has let me see in certain situations where it's just like there are instances where he has taken the spouse from these people and it's not even a divorce. Like these people have passed away and it's just like, that's deep. Like why are you letting me see that? And what are we learning in that situation? So there was like 2 different situations where these people, they're just normal people that I just ran into and I had an encounter with. Nothing crazy, like not sexual at all. Like encounter was crazy, but yeah. The word encounter is what I mean was crazy. But I ran into this first couple and it was you could feel something spiritual taking place, but like nobody was speaking on it. So it was like I felt like the presence wanted to test the spirit, but didn't want to test God like that. Like that's the best way I could say it. So in the encounter, it was just like I could see how the spouse was like trying to show like dominance in the situation and like let his spouse know like ain't nobody gonna take your place, like you my girl type type of energy. But it wasn't like I wasn't even in any mood or thought process like that. So it was just like, you know what, sir? Show up for your woman like that. Like, yeah, go ahead. I ain't even mad that you just cut me off and so y'all could walk in front of me. I ain't even mad at it. Like, do you. Like, I don't know what outcome or perspective you thought you was going to get from my end, but that's not the type of energy that I'm ever on. Like, ever. So when it happened, it was just like, okay, this a test the spirit moment. Like this ain't got nothing to do with me, so don't make it about me. Just let the spirit minister how the spirit is supposed to be ministering to these people. So what took place, it was just like, again, like I'm a silent observer, but I'm still kind of thrown in a situation without trying to be. Like I wasn't, my goal wasn't to be a part of anything. It was just to enjoy myself, and I just so happened to get swooped into something. That's the best way I could say it. So when I'm observing them and their encounter with each other, I'm just like, you can tell that they've been together for a while. Like even if they haven't been together for a while, like their energies mesh with each other. Like I could tell that they're meant for each other. Like that's the best way I can say it, because like I don't feel like that's my place to be saying who meant for each other and who not, but that's how I felt around them. So when I seen them nurturing each other, the way they talk to each other, like their communication with each other was so like just genuine, smooth, comfortable. Like they were making sure that each other was okay. They was making sure that, you know, both of them had each other, what each other needed. Like it was the way that a healthy relationship should look like. And I don't know if there I was placed there for these people to have a representation to show, like, if a negative force was to come in, how is my response? How is how am I showing up God like in this situation? Because like I said, I felt like there was something spiritual going on in the whole encounter. So it was like, it's still, even though it had nothing to do with me, it still has something to do with the Spirit trying to teach his children what they should be doing as his children. So as time progressed, like, you get to know the Spirit by the Spirit after encountering the Spirit after a while. And I can tell that this is what was taking place, because like that combative energy softened. Like, I'm not gonna say it completely stopped, but it's softened and it's moved over. And it was just like, okay, I can tell that you're not here to try to be a demonic influence in this situation. Like, I can tell that they spirit can tell that light was with light, if that makes sense. So because of that, it's just like light started just being light. Like, people started operating in the Spirit the way that the Spirit moves, because it was just like there wasn't a need to be combative. And it was like teaching, like, you know how light reflect off of a mirror and it reflect back? It was like that. It was like a positive reflection reflecting back in that moment, like how it should be. Like, I was learning how, a healthy couple communicates with each other and shows up for each other in times of need, while they were showing up in a godlike manner in a time of need in my situation. So it was just like light reflecting light, and what it should have been like without darkness, if that makes sense. Then I was in another situation where I see how I can be portrayed as the problem, because anytime I encounter or there's some type of lesson involving this one person, I just feel like I feed into probably boundaries that I need to be setting. And it's, for me, when I'm doing these things, I try to, I don't want to say justify what I'm doing, but like, my thought process behind it isn't a perverted intent. Like, I'm genuinely like expressing how I may feel in the situation, but because of like the details in it, it's just like, if you were the other person on the end of this spectrum, like, you wouldn't want this taking place to you. Like, you wouldn't want this happening to you unbeknownst to you or known to you. Like, you just, on the opposite side, you wouldn't want this to take place to you. So I'm always thinking of that in the back of my mind. And I don't too often find myself, I don't want to say I'm not judging the person, but I judge the situations taking place. And I try to judge like the motives behind it in the situations. So God would like take me out of the situation to be able to like have a perspective from like an outside point of view. So he would show me scenarios of, it's like, it's this is you in the situation, but it's not you in the situation. The only difference is this one person is the main ingredient in everything that's taking place. So it's like, I'm not condemning you or judging you for how you're moving in this situation, but take a look at how it's perceived and how you want to be perceived when things like this take place. So it's like the enemy is using the enemy eating this scenario up, because like he has the ability to use you and make all of y'all look like a mockery to what y'all believe in because of falling into his trap. So it's like, you could be sitting back trying to battle with lust, and here come the enemy trying to throw like lust into the mix when it's like those might not be those people's intention behind it. And then it's just like, well, now here's a unhealthy competition between people for the purpose of the enemy to prove some pervertedness that he got going on in his intentions. And then it's like, here's God on the outside, like, I'm going to use all of this to refine my children because all of these are my children and these are real life situations that take place and nobody wants to talk about these things. So let me figure out how to turn what the enemy is trying to make perverted into a lesson to have all my children understand that I understand them. So it always feels like a setup. Like anytime I'm around these people, like individually, I wouldn't have a problem with any of these people. But because the enemy is trying to pervert the situation, every encounter we have, it seems combative or dark or perverted in a type of way when it's like, it shouldn't even feel like this, because at the end of the day, if God is the center of it, none of the perversion would be in the midst in the midst of this situation anyway. So outside looking in, I'm judging this situation because I'm just like, why would you even put people in a situation to feel like this in the first place? Then I'm judging this other situation because it's like, why are you so comfortable with feeding into the negativity knowing that this isn't even that? And then I'm judging myself because I'm just like, this isn't how you would want to be treated or how you would want your person to show up or how you would want to show up for a person in any of these scenarios, situations, or whatever is taking place. So how do I healthily or in a healthy aspect assess this situation and move forward without adding to any type of perversion in it or condemning people off of things that are either one, not that deep, or two, is literally God trying to refine his children in. So when it came down to it, like, all I could do was assess myself in those situations. Like, I can't learn God's lessons for you. And I can't make a decision for you in what you feel like is right or wrong for your situation. But what I can do is I can self-reflect and see if I'm being a stumbling block for somebody else, or if I'm, feeding into the enemy's tactics of trying to manipulate situations, all I can do is make sure that I'm showing up as the what God would want me to be in the situation, and learning what I need to learn through the situations, and adjusting what I need to adjust to be the type of person that he wants me to be, and learning what he wants from me from the person that he has created for me, and being okay with being okay and waiting for that. So in each situation, I just showed up as I normally would. I presented myself as the way that I normally do in all situations. Like, I didn't change how I treated somebody else just because of being thrown in a scenario that would want me to change how I would treat others. Like, despite even how they may have showed up in the situation, I still showed up how I would normally show up. I still did what I normally would do. Like, I still not behave, but I did. Like, I showed up as me and encountered people as me, as I normally would. And even when I noticed the situations trying to turn to a perversion or a combative scenario for the pleasure of the enemy, it was just like, I'm not going to take that to heart, because I know my intentions behind things, and I know the schemes of the enemy and what he's trying to make take place in this scenario, and how it doesn't even have a solid foundation to be anything more than just the enemy being the enemy. So it's like, why would I insert any extra energy into something that is nothing? And then it also made me realize, like, that much more of what I want or need in a partner. Like, there's too many times where I feel like I'm pushed to lead in a situation, and it's just like, if you're the man, why am I the one leading in this? It doesn't make sense. And that is God's way of showing me why it's important for the way he structured a healthy, like those foundations that he put in place to make things healthy. So when I see somebody like feeding into negativity and not stepping up and controlling the situations, it's just like, that's not the person for you. Or if I see someone that's like putting me in situations that literally are detrimental to my mental health, like, that is not the person for you. Like, and even it came down to like small things where it was just like, why wouldn't you want to open the door for me? Like, it may seem small, but if that's something you like, don't dim what you like to appease a thought process of what things could be. Like what you like. And I came across a lady, like, I didn't, like, unsolicited advice. I didn't ask for this advice, but she, God put it in her spirit to put it out there. So it was just like, she literally said, like, if you don't feel like God has made that person for you, don't prolong the situation and try to force it to be something that it's not, because they're like, all that is holding you up for what God really has for you. And it's like, if God has you in a season of learning what you like and what you don't like, so that when you get into your relationship with whoever he has created for you, it can be healthy. It can be people that know how to communicate with each other, people that know how to show up for each other's needs, because you know what you need and you know what you like. And you're not operating from an unjustifiable judgmental thought process. Like, that's the best word that's coming to mind right now. Of what you feel like the relationship should be like, because you know what you like. You have a standard of what you like or what you want for your foundation. So from there, all you're doing is growing. Because at the end of the day, you can't change a person. Only God can do that. So it's like, let God work on these people so that they can be who he's created them to be for you. So you're not around here trying to take planks out of people's eyes when you ain't took the plank out of your eye. But that's all I got for y'all. I hope it come together the way that it's supposed to come together and the way that Holy Spirit moves, because some stuff I say just do be sounding like all over the place. But that's not the intention. But it is what it is. Until next time.